Today, we're jumping right into an exclusive, behind-the-scenes look at the birth of a luxury timepiece. We're going inside Joseph Baum SA, which is a really critical link in the Tudor watch supply chain. So let's uncover the fascinating journey of a watch case.
Have you ever actually wondered how a watch case is made? We strap them to our wrists every single day, yet we almost never stop to think about where they come from. Today, we're going to follow the life cycle of a watch case from start to finish. We'll watch this crazy, dramatic transformation from a simple, unassuming block of raw metal into a highly precise luxury component.
Section 1. The Raw Material Blank, where it all begins.
Okay, let's dive into this. Before any of the intense physical transformation kicks off, every single luxury watch case starts its life as what we call a blank. Essentially, a blank is just a raw material form that serves as the starting point for the case construction. At this stage, it's really just a simple, unassuming piece of raw metal. Nothing fancy yet.
Now, the method used to shape this blank, that entirely depends on the metal itself. If the case is made of stainless steel, it undergoes cold forging. But if we're working with something like titanium or bronze, those metals require hot forging. So right out of the gate, we have this fundamental divergence in the manufacturing process based strictly on the material.
Section 2. Extreme heat and pressure. Brute force transformation.
So let's look at that cold forging process first. It all begins with cutting individual steel case forms right out of much larger sections of steel. They don't just magically appear perfectly sized, right? They have to be meticulously prepped for the massive high-pressure stamping that's about to happen. But before they can take that kind of hit, the metal needs, well, a little bit of structural persuasion.
To make sure the steel case can withstand the absolute tremendous pressure of stamping over and over without just cracking or shattering, it goes through a process called annealing. The steel is hit with a blistering 1,000 degrees Celsius. To put that in perspective, that is about the temperature of flowing volcanic lava. Crazy, right? This extreme heat actually softens the steel while simultaneously strengthening it, ensuring it holds completely together when the heavy machinery comes crashing down.
Contrast that steel process with hot forging, which, remember, we use for titanium and bronze. Hot forging actually requires heating the metal up until it is literally glowing red. Just try to picture that intense visual on the factory floor. These glowing, red-hot chunks of titanium, prepped and absolutely ready for the anvil.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer mind-boggling scale of the engineering. 240 tons. Let that sink in. To put that massive number into perspective, 240 tons is roughly the weight of a commercial airplane. And whether it's that annealed steel or the glowing red-hot titanium, the metal gets stamped with that immense pressure in one single motion. It's just this incredible, violent display of brute force to stamp the basic shape of the watch case into existence. Section 3. Precision CNC Machining, Microscopic Exactness.
All right, leaving the deafening thuds of those massive stamping presses behind, the individual stamped blanks now enter a highly controlled 12-step CNC process. And this brilliantly illustrates how the case finally starts to take its actual functional shape. Step 1. The machines cut this ultra-fine threading on the underside for the case back and the crown. Step 2. The case is very carefully flipped over. And then Step 3. Further machining cuts the ultra-precise threading needed to attach the bezel. It is a meticulous, step-by-step transformation from a rough stamped block to a finely tuned housing.
But hey, remember those different materials we talked about earlier? Well, they changed the rules here too. You see, titanium machining takes noticeably longer than steel. Because titanium is just so incredibly hard, the CNC machines have to work at a much different pace, spending significantly more time cutting those precise threads. It's a really great reminder of how the raw material dictates the entire manufacturing timeline from start to finish.
Section 4. The final finishing touches. The human element.
At this point, the raw blank has been completely transformed, but it isn't quite a luxury item just yet. The watch case is now ready for its final finishing treatments. This involves a beautiful combination of machine and hand processes, and it all takes place in a completely different zone of the facility. The component is essentially handed off from the microscopic exactness of the CNC machines to a stage where careful hand treatments and specialized machinery step in to give the watch its final flawless polish and texture.
So all of this brings us to a final thought. With 240 tons of brute force on one end and highly precise microscopic CNC threading on the other, is a watch case a piece of jewelry? Or is it a marvel of modern engineering? The next time you glance down at your wrist to check the time, remember the glowing heat, the massive pressure, and the absolute exactness that went into crafting it. The hidden complexities behind the everyday luxury items we wear are truly astounding. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the amazing processes that build our world.